Just imagine you're 50 or 60 years old and you've been working your whole entire life really hard and you've been eating a meat-eating diet. And you're about to go into a stage of retirement and you're so excited because you get to travel the world and explore fun new places. And you go for your annual health checkup at the hospital and your doctor says you have signs of an impending heart attack. And well, you don't know exactly what that means for your future, but your doctor says that you'll have to stay close to hospitals wherever you go. And you know that's going to really put an end to your traveling really widespread areas. So you ask your doctor, well, how could I have changed that? And your doctor says, well, you could have had a plant-based diet. In this speech, I'll be showing how a plant-based diet is better than a meat-eating diet on terms of your physical health, your mental health, and cost-wise. I'm no expert by any means, but I have thoroughly researched the benefits of plant-based diets on individuals. This is also a really relevant speech to anybody wanting to live healthier and longer lives. First, I want to show how plant-based diets are better with your physical health. But first, we need to know what a plant-based diet is and a meat-eating diet is. So a plant-based diet is a diet consisting of vegetables and fruits and things like that, but is void of any meat. While a meat-eating diet is basically the opposite. It contains vegetables and stuff, but it does contain meat like fish, chicken, and hamburger. Now, some important characteristics of a plant-based diet and meat-eating diet. A plant-based diet has lower saturated fat intakes, higher dietary fiber, and lower BMI, all good signs of good health. While a meat-eating diet has higher saturated fat, a higher BMI, and a lower dietary fiber, which is all negatives to your health. Now, plant-based diets are a lot better than meat-eating diets because they lower your risk of cardiovascular disease and IHD, which is just a form of heart disease. The Proceedings of Nutrition Society published an article in 2022 titled Plant-Based Diets and Long-Term Health from the Oxford Study. In this study, they found that the combined risk of IHD in vegetarians and vegans was 22% lower than that in meat eaters, and this was reduced to a 17% lower risk after adjusting for BMI, meaning that plant-based diets are a lot better because, well, you have a lower risk of heart attacks and things like that. Plant-based diets are also better because they lower your risk for cancer overall and stomach cancer. The Proceedings of Nutrition Society published an article in 2022 titled Plant-Based Diets and Long-Term Health Findings from the EPIC Oxford Study. In this study, they found that the risk for any type of cancer was 10% lower than that in meat eaters and 18% lower in vegans. Stomach cancer was 62% lower in vegetarians, meaning that plant-based diets are a lot better because they reduce your risk for certain cancers and overall cancer. Plant-based diets are also better than meat-eating diets because they lower your risk of diabetes. The Journal of Geriatric Cardiology published an article in 2017 titled A Plant-Based Diet for the Prevention and Treatment of Type 2 Diabetes, which found that over their analysis of their data, which was 4.1 million people over years of follow-up, revealed that the people most adherent to a healthful plant-based dietary index had a 34% lower risk of developing diabetes compared to one's least adherent, like a meat-eating one, meaning that plant-based diets are much better because they lower your risk for diabetes. Now that we know that plant-based diets are a lot better in realms of physical health, let's see how they stand up to cost-wise. Well, plant-based diets are a lot less in cost than a meat-eating diet. And depending on, locations and the demand of different products, they can drive prices higher. But in general, plant-based diets are lower in cost. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics published an article in 2026 titled Cost and Affordability of Plant-Based Diets, Global Evidence from 2000 to 2025. They found that the mean total food cost per day decreased in the vegan group by approximately 16%, and the whole food plant-based diet cost around $9.78, while the baseline diet, the meat-eating diet, was around $15.72, meaning that plant-based diets are a lot better because, well, they cost less. Now that we know that plant-based diets are better because they cost less, let's see how plant-based diets affect your mental health. Well, plant-based diets are a lot better than meat-eating diets in your mental health because, well, they're better for your mental health. And you might think, well, how does the food you eat affect your mental health? Well, there's a thing called the gut-brain axis in the gut microbiome. In your stomach, you have multiple bacteria, and it's officially called the gut microbiome. Whenever you eat food, your digestive symptoms digest the food and send different signals to all these different bacteria. All these bacteria send different signals to your brain, which then will affect your mental health. And the authors from Surus published an article in 2025 titled Exploring Plant-Based Diets and Mental Health Outcomes, a Systematic Review. In this review, they found that after consuming a vegan-only diet, 62% reported large improvement or full remission of depressive symptoms. 59% reported significant improvement or full remission of anxiety. And 43% reported significant improvement or full remission of insomnia. Meaning that plant-based diets are a lot better because they are better for your mental health. Plant-based diets are also better than meat-eating diets because they cause less mood disturbance and less stress. The Nutritional Neuroscience published an article in 2015 titled Vegans Report Less Stress and Anxiety Than Omnivores. They found that the mean DAS-A anxiety and DAS-S stress scores differed by the vegetarian and omnivore group, with the vegetarian scores being lower than the omnivore scores, indicating a less mood disturbance. They also found that mean stress scores were lower, and this was related to a vegan-only diet. Now, I know you've learned a lot of things in this speech, so let's recap them one more time. A plant-based diet is a lot better than a meat-eating diet because they lower your risk for cardiovascular disease, they lower your risk for cancer, and they lower your risk for developing diabetes. They're also cheaper. I mean, who doesn't want some extra cash? And they're better for your mental health and lower your stress and less mood disturbance. Now, the next time you go to the grocery store and you're about to buy something meat-based or anything like that, just think about what I said and grab something plant-based. It'll be a lot better for your health and long-term living out your life and having fun activities. Thank you for listening, and I hope you've been persuaded that plant-based diets are the best diets and are a lot better than meat-eating diets. And here's my audience! Yay!